So this is 1080 with the Canon M100. It has a better lens. It has a 22mm f2 Canon M series lens than the kit lens. So it's a crop sensor camera. Does 1080. The mode is GOP. It's MOV format, GOV. So, or GOP. So that is sort of the least quality. But, you know, it does a good job. And it is so small. It has a flippy screen. It's like, it just always works. Has great autofocus. You know, I can pull this up and then zoom in on it, where the Sigma is just absolutely hopeless that way. So, you know, this camera has a lot going for it. A newer version would have 4K. Well, the newer versions have 4K, but it's at a crop, I believe. So, and why you like to shoot at 4K, even though the video is only going to end up at 1080, is kind of like taking a photo with a lot of pixels, and then you can shrink it or do whatever you want with it and maintain some quality. Honestly, this little thing is pretty hard to beat for simplicity, I'll tell you, and low cost. So it seems to me the body was like 280 bucks or something, and the lens I found used on eBay in great shape for 100 bucks. So value for dollar, it can't be beat. But this is a hobby, and so you know, sometimes you do things with hobbies that you don't do for efficiency's sake. So hummingbirds buzzing around. I need to make sure they have some nectar in there. Yeah. And that's really all I use this camera for. I don't find the photos to be that remarkable at all, even though it does shoot raw. I don't know, there's just something about them that is a little muddy. I think an iPhone could probably do a better job. I'm sure an iPhone could do a better job, actually. But, you know, it's all part of the process. This technology is now, what, 6-7 years old. So, with the M100. And it has served me well. So, it's kind of my fallback camera. So this is more or less just to see what the quality is like. See if there's a diminishment in quality in using this versus the Sigma at 4K. I could not get into Cinema DNG RAW today for some reason. Maybe it was the cable trying to connect to the solid state drive, a Samsung T5. I don't know, it worked before. So, well, I don't know if I was using that cable though. So I recorded that in 4K MOV All-I, which is a format that could offer some advantages. It's much bigger than GOP, but it might offer some advantages. But I do such minimal editing, it hardly matters. So I just want a good image right out of the gate. Little hummingbird. So yeah, I mean, I have pretty low needs, but my need is for high quality. Yeah, because I want this process to be as transparent as possible. I look at I have looked at some of the older videos when somebody will say, "Oh yeah, what about this?" I never go back and look at that nice stuff. I just don't. And it's like horrifically bad quality, man. So, oh well. it was what I had at the time. So I think reasonably enough, a lot of people are using their phones for this kind of stuff, which makes sense. But I don't have a really good photo phone like an iPhone. I just have Midland phones that are really pretty crappy. So this does provide better quality. Yeah. But we'll see. Just finishing this up. I should get back to work. Yeah. So this is just a test to see how the crop sensor lenses work on this full frame camera system. So I think the results end up being pretty good. We'll see how they compare. For some reason I can't get Cinema D&G to work right now. Techno issues. But just finishing up this pipe. I like these Brian Dorans. Simple, solid, smoke great. He's a great guy. What more could you want? So we're out in the woods here having a smoke. Just taking in this bluebird day. Some Pegasus from Cornell and Diehl. Unknown age. They do stamp their tins. I think it said 2009. So it's pretty old stuff. In a Brian Doran from 2014. With the Russian colors on the bit here, or the American colors. How was that? So, you know, there's all this stuff going on in Eastern Europe. There's just so much you cannot control. You know, you just do not have control over. And so it makes for anxiety. And so what do? Do you just sit there and be a puddle of anxiety? Or do you take a step back and sort of manage your anxiety? And I think that's what everybody needs to do, is just realize what you have control over and what you don't, you know. In your daily life, you can go to work if you're working and do the best job you can and connect with people and get a little bit of nourishment that way. But understand that anxiety is in your head. You know, it's kind of exclusive of what's going on around you. You know, we always think, oh, it's these outside forces that are influencing how I feel. Well, there may be some triggers out there, but really it's how your mind is processing that. So it's the last couple of years have been a good lesson for me in knowing some individuals who reacted to outside inputs entirely differently than I would. And yeah, would I label it as mental illness? You know, that's pejorative. Mental illness is just like outside of the guardrails of what's considered normal. So, did it get in the way of their functioning? Yes, it did. Were they getting help? Marginally. So, you know, it is up to us to see what's going on in our own heads, and we aren't very well trained to do that. Frankly, you know, it's usually more about looking outside of ourselves rather than inward. But that's what you really have the control over, is what's going on inside your head. So that's what we got to work on and manage. You know, it's not, you can't eliminate some of the anxiety that's produced, but maybe you can limit your exposure to the news, you know, or talk with friends and be able to just express your feelings about what's happening. I think, in my case, that's been the most useful thing of all. You know, not haranguing or judging or taking a position or whatever, but just recognizing what your feelings are, and then being able to express those. And sometimes that's enough just to pull the anxiety down. So, yeah. I think friendships are just like key to most things for all of us personally. Yeah. So luckily, we had our motorcycle monthly meeting last weekend. I had a great time, and it was really nourishing for that reason. So, you know, you get together, you can see how other people are doing, and yeah, it's good. It's good. So, there's always something to make you anxious if you let it. You know, honestly, there's always something. So, it's just something you got to manage. Being out in nature for me is a big part of that. Getting a little exercise is important for me. Yeah. So we all have our ways of dealing with it. I know I'm using this lighter I found in my little lighter stash. It actually has a little tamper, which I'm never going to use. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to use that thing. An artificial finger. Get in there and feel how your tobacco's doing, not just take the word of, oh, it should be doing this. No, get in there, feel it. So, well, that didn't take. Get near the end of it. Pipe smoking is a good way of getting a little perspective, I think. Just allows you to slow down and be a little more contemplative. So that's really valuable. So yeah, nature is my cathedral, honestly. It's my church.